Okay, I'm going to test my microphone before I get going for tonight. I would like someone to comment if you can hear me and if the volume is good. I love you too. I just want to make sure that my volume is good and everyone can hear me. So I need someone to comment that the volume and the audio is working. All right. Thank you, Francesca. Appreciate you. Perfect. Today is October 24th, 2024. I would suggest you watch my first video, ET Disclosure, Information and Updates, on my BitChute and Rumble channel, Purple Lion Project, as it would give you the needed background to understand more about me and who I am. All right, I'm going to get right to the heart of the topic. Is John of God a saint or a sinner? Was it a scandal or setup? Let me share what I know. For those of you that don't know who John of God is, I went to Wikipedia and printed out his Wikipedia page, and I'll just read a brief portion of it. João Tierra de Faria, known also as João de Deus or John of God, is a Brazilian convicted rapist, self-proclaimed medium, and self-proclaimed psychic surgeon. He was based in Abadiânia, Brazil, where he ran a spiritual healing center called the Casa da Inácio de Loyola. He received media coverage on CNN, ABC News, and personally from the Oprah Winfrey Show. However, James Randi and Joe Nickell exposed his healing procedures as nothing more than carnival tricks, and there is no evidence that the benefits reported by patients are anything more than a placebo effect. In December of 2018, after over 600 accusations of sexual abuse, Faria turned himself into police. In the following years, he was found guilty of a number of different crimes, including illegal firearm possession and statutory rape. The sentences add up to 489 years and 4 months in prison. Currently, he is home on house arrest. First off, I want to make it very clear that I do not support rape or abuse of women in any way, shape, or form. I myself was a rape victim at the age of 16 by a man of power and was left for dead. Again, I am truthful in what I am going to present based on my personal experience, my observations, and interviews during the 26 visits I personally made to the healing center in Brazil. This video is going to be approximately an hour and a half long. I need to give people some background information, those that are not familiar. I need to explain how I got involved with the healing center. And there's going to be, towards the end, some plot twists. So I would ask everyone to please be patient as I get through this, because this is going to be officially documenting pretty much everything. So I would ask you to please be patient and listen to this video through to the end. In 2012, I was offered hospice. Please refer to my intro video as it gives more details. I was visited by beings of light the night I was going to pass. They scanned me with a light beam head to toe. I could feel them working on my organs for approximately 5 minutes. as I laid there in my hospital bed in my studio apartments that was approximately 200 square feet in size. I had given everything away and I was ready to go home. I prayed to God and asked someone to give me a hug before they left, as I laid there in bed alone for a year. When the entities of light were getting ready to leave, someone kissed me. It was the energetic frequency signature of Mary Magdalene. I was instructed to go to the healing center in Brazil for more profound healing. And I will share with you, I became aware of the healing center. I was watching an Oprah show, Super Soul Sunday, and Dr. Wayne Dyer was on her show, and he was explaining how he was healed from cancer long distance via the healing center in Brazil. While I was sick and dying in the dying process, I contacted an official guide online to the healing center, and I asked them to present my information to the prayer basket, to the healing center, to the entities of light in Brazil, to request healing. And within days, that is when they showed up. That's when they showed up the first time in my small studio apartment in Michigan to begin the healing process and begin working on me and with me, for which I am very grateful. So back then in 2012, a few months later, I applied for my passport, sold some jewelry as gold took a huge jump in value, and bought my ticket to Brazil. My kids thought I was crazy. My daughter said, "Mom, what if you die there?" I said, "Well, then I die there." Once you buy your tickets with the intention to go to the healing center in Brazil, the entities are already working with you. I have seen and heard this fact hundreds of times. Once you click the purchase button, they are already with you, and they are working with you to get you there safely with as much ease and grace as possible. I started my trip. One of my flights was canceled in Miami, and I was laying on my luggage like a rag doll with my wheelchair next to me because I was unable to walk. There were many hundreds mulling in the airlines at the airline's desk, backed up and crowded into the turnstiles and overflowing into the main hallway. And then I heard someone call my name, "Cassandra!" It was an angel sent from God to help me. She grabbed me up, put me in my wheelchair, wheeled me to the front of the line to the airline's desk. She told the lady at the airline desk that if she does not get me on this flight with her, that I will die in her line. The airline's customer service attendant frantically printed me a ticket and released me to the next flight that was taking off in just a few hours. From the taxi from the Brasilia airport into the town of Abadiânia, I arrived at the Pousada, which is a motel, in the small town of Abadiânia in the morning to be greeted by my group and official guide waiting for me to have an initial tour of the healing center, the Casa da Manacio. It was a 2-minute walk from the Pousada. As I entered the gates, a flow of gratitude overwhelmed me. It was like a dream. I was there. I'll never forget that. I was so tired. I was so sick. I was on methadone, morphine, MS-Contin, and a whole bucket of drugs. I was exhausted from the trip, and I will never forget breathing in and standing there at the entranceway of this beautiful healing center. I have received profound healing from the entities of light that work hard at the healing center for the healing of humanity. See, these are beginning some of the things that you don't hear about in the mainstream media. This healing center is way more than Medium João. Well, we call him Medium João, John of God. There's way more to the healing center than just the man. Thousands attended the healing sessions on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. Numerous large buses from all over Brazil lined the street with the destination of Jesus glowing in their front windshield. People from all over the world, many countries visiting the Center for Hope, Healing, and Spiritual Growth. John of God, again known as Medium João, was the physical administrator and main medium there. St. Ignatius and his team of thousands of spiritual doctors and healers are in the spiritual realm. So St. Ignatius is the spiritual administrator. Medium Joao was the physical administrator. The Healing Center was built over 40 years ago with the intent of offering healing to humanity using energy. It is built on a very large crystal mine, creating a massive energy and a vortex. You literally manifest things quickly there. It's almost like another dimension. Visitors are told that this is a spiritual hospital, and to be careful of what you focus on as you create what you think. Thoughts are energy. Thoughts create. They guided people to think about being healthy, doing things you enjoy, being pain-free, happy, swimming in the ocean, running, walking, cancer-free, playing, enjoying life, not having any more pain. The healing sessions on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays are managed and run by the entities of light so that the thousands in attendance could be seen and receive the healing that they individually require. The color of the blue paint of the healing center was even picked by the entities, as colors give off a frequency. That color blue is the color frequency of healing. The music piped in is picked by the entities, as music is a frequency and has healing properties. You have to remember, everything is energy. Everything. Everything has a frequency. Everything is energy. And the lines chosen and what order is organized by the entities. 2,000 to 4,000 people a day were seen through the line every day, and that was a feat in itself. Can you imagine a small rural hospital seeing 2,000 to 4,000 people a day? It was a very organized, well-orchestrated, systematic, and they saw everybody. Everybody. The sessions were open until every person that came that day was seen. Energy healing modalities were given to each person, which could have included going to the sacred waterfall. So there's a sacred waterfall on the grounds. It's about a 15-20 minute walk that's on the grounds of the Healing Center. There are nature energies back there. You get under the sacred waterfall. Pictures are not allowed. You get under the sacred waterfall with the intent of healing and clearing anything that's negative, negative attachments, negative energies. And so that is a modality that can promote health and well-being. So the sacred waterfall was a healing modality along with many others. Also blessed passiflora herbs that could be bought for approximately $5 that have specific energy infused in them for the healing of that particular patient. If a patient did not have the money, they would still provide the blessed herbs. There are entities of light working in the pharmacy, and when the patient went to go get their blessed herbs, the entities of light would bless and infuse that bottle with the healing energy specific for that person. Another healing modality was blessed water that was sold at the bookstore for 20 cents US dollars on the bottle. Entities of light blessed the water upon delivery, and I've heard many, many, many miraculous stories of healing just from drinking that blessed water, putting it on a washcloth and putting it on their eyes, and their eye issues were gone, pouring it on their head, blessing their entire body. Anything that's blessed with high level frequency vibration removes and cleanses anything that might be negative attached to you. You have to remember, dis-ease is a frequency. Another healing modality was a spiritual surgery. The entities of light would visit the patient in their posada, their motel room, and perform a procedure similar to what I experienced at my apartment in Michigan. The entities of light would visit them, perform the spiritual surgery, then the patient would return to the healing center the next day for a follow-up evaluation, or next week. Another energy modality is laying in a crystal bed, where there are 7 Vogel crystals that illuminate your body, balancing your energy, promoting healing and well-being. There are also entities of light that are also on standby with these crystal beds and also do surgeries while the person is laying in the crystal bed. I have talked to many people. Again, I've been there 26 times. I've met thousands upon thousands of people, and I've heard lots of wonderful experiences. One lady, she was laying in her bed. She had a tumor in her neck, and she was laying in a crystal bed, and she could feel the entities working on her with some type of tool going down her throat and pulling this bad tumor energy out on the spiritual level. And then she wound up healing immediately. Going back to some of the spiritual surgeries where the entities would visit the patients in their posada, in their hotel, motel room in the middle of the night. The energies are so high there now that one lady actually received a full liver transplant in the middle of the night, and it was very successful. So this is the power of the energy at the healing center at this time. And if you'll please be patient, I'll continue to explain. After each morning healing session on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Friday, homemade blessed vegetable soup is offered to everyone at the healing center free of charge. There are Brazilian women in the kitchen at the healing center, and they have these huge pots where they cut up fresh vegetables and they make this vegetable soup for everyone free of charge. And the entities of light in the kitchen bless the soup. So that's another healing modality to promote well-being and healing. Visiting the healing center and attending the healing sessions inside are also free of charge. There's a donation box in the main hall, but it's never mentioned during the healing sessions. The main hall has a triangle on the wall where many prayers have been emitted. It's a direct line to the entities of light and source energy. There have been millions and millions and millions of pictures and prayer requests put into that prayer triangle. Actually, the cement is worn out on the wall from the millions of heads that have been placed into it, praying to the divine for healing or prayers for themselves or someone else. And I have experienced many times direct contact after I have said a prayer through that. It's almost like a telephone. It's like a mailbox directly to God. So the triangle represents love, faith, and charity. With the healing sessions, there are opening prayers to the divine and God. There are large pictures of Jesus and Mary in the main hall. Although it's a spiritual healing center, all religions are welcome. It does have a flavor of being Catholic. I think Catholic is one of the main religions in Brazil, so it does have a flavor of being Catholic, but all are welcome. Since my first time there, I have been healed by the grace of God and the help of the entities of light that work within this healing center. It took 3 years for my body to heal, and all along the way, they have visited me many, many, many times. They have taken me out of body numerous times, each time to show me and teach me the way of healing and all about spiritual growth. Again, it took about 3 years for my entire body to heal, along with their help, leaps and bounds. I was in extreme severe pain at the end. I had a condition where all my tendons and ligaments were ripping and tearing from my eyes to my feet. The connective tissue that holds your muscles to your spine were ripping and tearing. Everything was ripping and tearing. My eyelids, everything. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I was shaking. I was in so much pain. I was in AFib. I would have EKGs all the time. Doctors had flown me to Mayo. I went to Cleveland Clinic. I went to numerous medical centers. And the more they messed with me, the more they were killing me. I wound up in a wheelchair, unable to walk. And then I wound up bedbound for a year. The last area of pain that I had was in between my shoulder blades. It hurt a lot, and I would sit a lot with a heating pad. And so in one of my visits around 2014, the entities came to visit me right before dawn. They took me out of body, took me behind my physical body, and they showed me how they physically do their work on the energy body. They showed me how they took out a piece of energy. It was almost like a brick. They worked on it, popped it back in, and when they did, they popped my whole body back in. And then I was like, oh my gosh, oh, you guys fixed that last spot of pain that's been nagging. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. And today, I'm almost 58, and I feel great. I have no pain, I'm healthy, and I'm happy. I feel awesome, thanks to their help. So since 2012, I've returned 26 times, staying in the small town of Abidjania for anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months, learning the ways of energy healing, making friends that work rather they volunteer at the healing center, and meeting those visiting seeking healing and spiritual growth from all over the world. The food in that town was, wow, excellent. Fresh meats, fresh fruits, the little cafes that were there, delicious food, healing food, real nutrition for your cells, made by Brazilian women. And there were places to hang out and meet people, hang out at the cafe. You know, I have no friends here really, but I had lots of friends there. We had lots of things in common. We would all hang out at the cafes in this small town where thousands were, just a couple blocks that way, a couple blocks that way, where thousands gathered and to share their experiences and spiritual growth and learn and grow. It was a fantastic place to be. So in this town, years ago, they used to have signs up. It used to say, you're leaving the energetic safe zone. So it's only a couple blocks that way, a couple blocks that way, and then you've got the healing center. So the entities of light would say, you're in a protected energetic safe zone. Don't leave the zone because your seizures may return, and they have to some people. And we can't protect you once you leave the energetic safe zone. So if you're here with the intent of healing, stay within the energetic safe zone. And I swear, as soon as your taxi pulls into this small area of town, you can feel the shift in dimension. You feel lighter. You manifest quicker. It's not like walking through mud anymore. What you think you create there much, much quicker. There's a vortex there, and everybody knew it. People that were, that had been there, people that live there, understand this, that you manifest quicker. So you have to be careful what you think about, because thoughts are energy. I can't tell you how many times I've thought of someone or something that was out of town, and then pretty soon, within minutes, the guy's walking by, or I need a new motel room with this or that, and then pretty soon, boom, someone says, hey, go there. So you manifest things really quickly there, and then when you leave to come home, you're back like swimming through sludge again, trying to manifest. Medium Joao was known by the locals as a very hardworking, ruthless businessman that was also very generous. He built large soup kitchens in the area to feed the poor, kitchens that fed many, many hundreds a day. He owned farms, crystal mines, and crystal stores in town. He also owned the crystal and the bookstore at the healing center. He was known for being a workaholic and demanded the same work ethic from those that worked for him. Sometimes he demanded a bit too much. Too many hours, too much work. He only missed a few days at the healing center in his entire life. So he's been the main medium at the healing center for over 40 years, and he's only missed a few sessions his entire life. Being the main medium, having massive energy shifts by having higher level beings of light enter his body to assist in healing for that particular person took a lot out of him. He was a full trance medium, which means his soul is put to sleep and taken out, and another energetic soul comes in, and they see the patient person in front of them, and they give them the healing modalities that they need to heal. So with the 2 or 3, 4,000 people coming in, there might be 5, 10, 20, 30 different main entities coming in to the main medium to give direction for that particular person. Every person that came to the healing center had a team of spiritual doctors and healers assigned to them, specific to their dis-ease. Say if someone had cancer, they would have a cancer specialist from the spiritual realm come in and be with that person. If someone had MS, there was an MS specialist with their team of nurses and healers with them. So everybody that came had a team of doctors assigned to them. I personally saw Medium Joao in between healing sessions. There were 2 sessions. There was morning and afternoon. At the end of the sessions, where he would have to have 2 people help him, assist him, almost carry him to his office, where he collapsed and slept. It was quite an exhausting job for him to have these energies coming and going from your body. So now I'm going to get to some things that are going to be a little disturbing. It's disturbing to me, and it's very disturbing to the public. I understand that this topic is very heated. There's a lot of anger out there, and rightly so. And there's also a lot of disinformation and controlled opposition. There are 3 platforms with people that you would recognize their name, which I'm not going to put them on blast today, but you would definitely recognize their names, where I have reached out to them to share the light in the healing center. Light means truth. It does not mean just sharing the love and light part. It does not mean just sharing the horror and the disgust. It means sharing the truth. And all 3 have declined, and actually some blocked me from correcting them. So what does that tell you? Well, to me, that tells me that they are controlled opposition. They only want to control the side and the information that they want to present. And why would somebody want to do that? I'd like to throw in Gaia TV with this also. Why would they want to withhold the truth from the public? Well, I'll give you my opinion, and that's because they like to stir up their own reality for sales of their products or services, for ratings, for clicks, for advertising, and cherry picking what they want to say to hop on the fear porn bandwagon, because humanity likes fear porn. It creates ratings. Eventually down the road, I will put all of these people on blast when the time is right. But tonight, this presentation is focused on Medium Joao, John of God. In 2014, before any of this news broke, I was taken out of body. I do a lot of astral traveling. That means that my body disengages and I go back into my pure original form, which is a ball of light. That's what we are. That is our natural state. This physical state is just temporary. It's a physical vessel to experience this reality, to become the master of our lives, and to learn how to master energy. The first time I astral traveled to confront a demon which I'll get into my mission in just a minute, was about a year or two before I went to see Medium Joao, and it was to Barbara Bush. She was a vile reptilian demon. So in 2014, I was taken out of body to astral travel to Medium Joao. I didn't quite understand in this physical head what was going on at the time, but my spirit, your infinite self, your higher self, your infinite self, your real true form, your spirit body knows everything. Once your consciousness, part of it, is put back into your body, you don't remember a lot of stuff. You're put behind the veil, in a sense. By design, it was quite a creative and experimental life to give sparks of divine beings an opportunity to, okay, go off on your own, see what you can create. If you remembered everything, just like Dolores Cannon said, it wouldn't be much of a test, would it? So you incarnate here with a plan. You choose your family, your mom, situations that you'd like to experience to learn and grow. And when your learning and growing is done, you made an exit plan. You might have a few throughout your life on how to return home back into your natural state. Every night when you go to sleep, just about, you disengage and you go traveling. You astral travel. You might go to classes. You might go off with your guides. You might go visit friends and family, experience things, fly, right? So everybody has this ability. But my veil has been thinned. I have been able to communicate with those in the spiritual realm for a very long time. So in 2014, I was taken out of body right to Medium Joao, John of God. And I approached him with a message from Source. I saw him sitting in his chair in the astral realm with women and babies around him. I was there to give him a warning, to stop his behavior with women as he was sexually reckless, a womanizer, and was creating pregnancies that he did not honor. As I approached him with this warning, he refused to acknowledge me. This picture of him being smug and careless, selfish, greatly disturbed me. I knew that he is declining to receive this message. I immediately fell to the floor and put my head down and prayed for his soul. When I returned to my physical body, I was in shock at the horror of what I saw, but did not totally understand it as the news was not to break until years later. By this time, I had been there 3 or 4 times, and no one has ever shared a rumor of this behavior other than it was a mystery at how many times he had been married and how many kids he really did have, which was actually none of my business. From 2014 on, I have visited the Healing Center 20 plus more times. I have helped well over 500 people with healing requests and have had many hundreds follow up sharing their miraculous experiences with me. I did this all free of charge. And I have received hundreds of responses from those that I have assisted to connect with these beings of light over the years. I have never once received a negative response, or no one has ever had a negative experience ever with the beings of light. I've had stories and responses of miraculous, powerful healings that few would even believe. I will share a couple of those at the end of my video because I think it would help understand the power of the healing that is available. I have personally never physically experienced anything negative at the Healing Center, nor by Medium Joao. I have never seen anything negative at the Healing Center by Medium Joao. I've never talked to anyone in the town that shared horrific rumors that he's killing women or baby farming. The town is small, and if there were baby farms, people would know about it. As Medium Joao is looked at as a rock star, and he's watched constantly in the public. He seldom has privacy once he's outside of his house. In 2019, when the news exploded with the arrest and horrific allegations, I was in total shock, just like everybody else. Many of us were. The main allegations were put out by an NGO, a non-governmental organization, and the news media were beyond my expectations, and I was literally frozen in shock. Quote, 600 women raped? Baby farm? Rocked the news across the world. Oprah had been there once for a few hours to do a show, and then she came out at that time running with the news condemning him for his horrid behavior. It went viral. Fast forward to today, some of those initial NGO allegations were found to be based on lies. The main woman heading the scandal, Sabrina, who doesn't live in Brazil, lied about the charges and even faked her suicide to prove that she was so tortured and abused and traumatized from the horror from John of God that she could no longer take living. And then it was found that she faked her suicide. The court has dropped most of the charges, and from what I understand, there were no 600 women raped, and there was no baby farm. But the mainstream news does not correct their findings and give new information updates. One of Medium Joao's daughters also supported the lies for her own personal gain. Again, Medium Joao was a wealthy man in a country where many are in extreme poverty. It doesn't sound like he took care of his many children in a healthy and balanced way that a father should, mentally, physically, financially, or spiritually. He was a bit ruthless, and the daughter that came out with the allegations appeared spiteful, angry, and vengeful. This is the talk in that small town. I am not sure if her allegations were founded or unfounded, but it is a rumor in the town that she lied for financial gain, as she was, again, neglected and vengeful. Now there does appear to be women that have valid allegations of sexual abuse, rape, or inappropriate touching. Some claimed sexual touching during the healing sessions. Now, I can share that one time I was at the healing center. I was inside in line to get a physical healing, and John of God came up to me with his hand, and he swiped under my right breast and went like that. It was, in my opinion and intuition, that he was cleaning some dark energy from my liver. I was probably extremely toxic from all the drugs and IVs that they've been pumping into my body. And my liver was probably overloaded, and that's where your liver is. Now, that has happened. Similar things have happened to other women, such as that. And now some of them are jumping on the bandwagon because, again, the women in Brazil are in extreme poverty. And when there's an opportunity to make some money, it happens there in Brazil. There's a lot of corrupt business practices there. It's a kind of a dog-eat-dog world there. Anytime you want to have a contractor come to your house and update, or go to the veterinarian, or go to a doctor or dentist, you're always getting screwed. You hear it all the time. You almost need an attorney to be with you to contract when money is involved. So yes, once incorporated, John of God, women and men would be touched for healing purposes. One thing I can say for sure is that John of God was warned by me and others to clean up his behavior in regards to women and his treatment of women. He was a womanizer, careless and reckless, fathering many children all over the place. Who knows how many children he has? Nobody knows. He was known for marrying women half his age, marrying numerous times to women half his age, but then again, they were all of age in their 30s or 40s. Today, Medium Joao is in his mid to late 80s. There is speculation on how old he really is, and is currently on house arrest while the Justice Department in Brazil continues to look into the allegations and charges remaining. Additional charges, from what I've heard, have been coming in, and they all have to do with sexual assault of women, including rape. It is, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, there was no baby farm, and there was no selling of babies, from what I understand. In the past year, I have astral traveled to Medium Joao at his home. This was approximately 6 months ago. I reprimanded him. I told him that I and others are now in charge of the healing center and that he is only welcome to enter as a patient through the front gates like everybody else, but only in the spiritual sense. Again, he is on physical house arrest by the government. I had a flavor of disgust with him at this visit. But you have to remember, it is a spiritual healing center. It's a spiritual hospital. Who needs healing more than Medium Joao? All are welcome. God offers healing to everyone, including those that have lost their way, those that are addicted, have demonic attachments, dark energies, etc. God offers healing to even Oprah and others that have been there. The gates of God's healing are open to all, even Satan himself. In the meantime, over the years, I have removed leftover dark energies and creatures that have infested and festered there at the healing center. You have to remember, over 7 million people have been there seeking healing. Very sick people, bringing very dark energies that are attachments, diseases, addictions, cancers, anything that's foul and dark attached to them. So you have to remember, a lot of people have been there physically. And a lot of this stuff has been removed from them. And when you go to the Healing Center for Healing, the first room you walk through is a cleansing room. And that's the room I usually sat in, because that's what I do. I remove dark energies. So when you walk into the Healing Center in line through the process, the first room you go through is a room with approximately up to 150 or so mediums sitting in there, bringing in the light to cleanse and remove attachments and dark energy and send it to the light to be neutralized or healed. A lot of drug addicts, alcoholics come with lots of stuff attached that has to be removed. I have seen addicts come and be free from their addictions in one visit. Because everything is energy. You have to remember that. So again, in the meantime, over the years, I've removed leftover dark energies and creatures that have infested and festered in the healing center. The healing center, in a sense, kind of became a toilet that needed to be flushed. And I completed this with my last visit. I dug out one of the most demonic creatures from way below using my skilled energy weapon and sliced its head off to never again interfere with humanity. I am a highly trained spiritual warrior. I've been trained for lifetimes for this mission. I am also part of a soul frequency that St. Martha comes through, the Dragon Slayer, Mary Magdalene's sister. And that is who came to kiss me originally in 2012 in my small studio apartment in Michigan to begin my spiritual growth and healing. I am now one of the main mediums at the Healing Center and have sat in the second most powerful medium's chair, right next to St. Rita, of whom I have communicated with numerous times. St. Rita is now the main medium in the Healing Center. St. Rita lived a life on earth. She was a mother, a wife, and she lost her husband and children, and she actually became a nun. She is the saint of the impossible. And I have called upon her for help in different times of my life that were very difficult, and she has interceded. I highly recommend everybody get this book. I'll post a link down below. Excellent book. It'll only take you maybe an hour and a half to read. Gives you an idea about St. Rita and how she became the saint of the impossible. Nothing is impossible with St. Rita. The Healing Center has been cleansed and the energies there are very powerful. Getting back to my example of the lady having a full liver transplant in her motel room in the middle of the night. The energies are crystal clear. There has been an overhaul of sorts. New energies, a new beginning. I asked St. Rita if the Healing Center will ever again be the world's most powerful and most renowned healing center in the world. And she held my hands and says, only God knows. Since the Healing Center was opened, they've had to have attorneys on staff because they were constantly getting attacked, because you can't heal people of cancer, AIDS, MS, and all these other diseases free of charge with energy modalities for millions of people over 40 years. There are some things I could say right now and give names, but I will get blocked and my video will be taken down. You know which drug cartel I'm talking about that runs the planet right now. They have wanted to shut this Healing Center down for many years as it's making a massive dent in profit margins of the major pharmaceutical industry rather than the petro-pharmaceutical cartel. You know what I'm talking about. That profit off human suffering and death. Unfortunately, John of God gave them enough substance for them to grab and run with it. He veered off his path. He veered off his mission. So during my 26 visits, I have also received intense training on energy work, spiritual mediumship, astral traveling, and more, all for free. All I needed was to have faith. There were times I had no money, but yet they got me down there. One time, me and my dog, we were going to go down there for 4 months. I arrived Abidjanya. I had no money. I got out of my taxi, walked over to the Healing Center, and said, friends, Father, I'm broke, and I'm here for 4 months. Could you please help me? As I left the Healing Center that afternoon and started walking back towards Fruity's, the cafe, there was a lady across the street, and she yelled over to me, "Hey, You. I said, yeah. She says, hey, come here. She says, I was told to give you some money. I says, what? She said, yep, $800. I says, are you serious? She said, yep. How can I get it to you? I said, can you afford this? She says, well, I'm not rich, but I get enough to get by. And I was told, yes, give you $800. That's exactly how much I needed for food and rent for those 4 months. This is how God works. Have faith, ask and you shall receive, and then let it go. The universe must provide. I continue to this day to connect and check in to the Healing Center. It's my second home, for which I'm honored to be of service to God and humanity. Right now, I would like to take a moment of silence to offer healing to those women who have truly suffered a violation or trauma, abuse by the poor actions and judgment of John of God. May their traumas be healed and released to the light for healing. May they find peace and forgiveness. Let us also offer forgiveness to Medium Joao, John of God, and ask for God's grace on his soul for veering off his mission and not having healthy boundaries when he himself was in a position of power and wealth. And I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. You have to remember, we live in a reality where there is light, there is darkness. If you are human, you are in a state of imperfection. As humans, we all seek redemption, forgiveness, and God's grace. We are here to learn and spiritually grow and ascend in our path back to source from which we came. Great lessons come with great challenges. There are no bad things in life, only lessons and love. Great suffering comes with great transformation. There is purpose to it all, and God does not judge. It is your conscience that judges you once you pass over, as all the truths are revealed. Your life review is not an easy event, but God always gives you another chance, if you wish, as free will reigns, its cosmic law. I have said to myself so many times over the years, how did the entities of light allow this monster called John of God to continue his behavior? They sent angels like us to warn him, to wake him up, and he chose free will to ignore me and others. You always have to remember, free will reigns. So this is my truth. Others may not agree, and I understand that. But always be very careful to judge others based on mainstream media or other platforms that are controlled opposition. That financially benefit from their platforms. A week or two ago, I put out posts. I contacted numerous people in the UFO and spiritual platforms saying, hey, I've got some information. I've been contacted by Mother Goddess SEKHMET. I am now aware of much, much more about my mission, about messages for humanity. This needs to get out. And I know a lot of people. Not one of them offered any guidance or assistance. Everybody's making money off their speaker fees, their their ego. They want to be number one. They want to be highest paid. They want to sell their books. They want to sell their healing products. They want to sell their healing services, their spiritual readings, some up to $900 and more an hour. Are you out of your mind? The media is a captured agency owned by powerful, profitable corporations that have greed and profits as their priority, not the well-being or health of society, or even the truth, or even the full truth, or even a partial truth. It's an MK Ultra Project Mockingbird creation to brainwash and control society using fear, horror, emotional shock. 9/11, perfect example. 9/11 was an event to reduce and put humanity in shock, fear, and to lower your vibration. Because the deep state, the demons, the dark ones, the controllers, they want your vibration low. And when you're in a state of fear, you can't think rational. And your frequency goes down. And that's when you attract disease, parasites, cancers, tumors, because now you're in a state of fear. Your frequency resonates with disease now. Because the dark knows the end is coming. And they're doing everything they can, causing chaos, fear, distractions. Look this way, not that way. Look over here, look over there. That's what they're doing. They're masters of this psychological programming. So, is Medium Joao, is John of God a saint or a sinner? You make your own judgment. I think he's a little of both. Just like most humans. And he would always say, I'm just a man. Was it a scandal or setup? Well, he created the scandal and he allowed the setup. So that's my opinion. But you decide for yourself. I have been visited by very high vibrational beings, up to and including just a few days ago. I would again like to ask you to please watch my original video, my introduction video that is on Rumble and BitChute, my introduction to extraterrestrial contact. Just briefly, in 2014, I was given a sculpture by Cynthia Crawford of Mother Goddess SEKHMET. She was an alien hybrid, 2/3 extraterrestrial genetics and 1/3 human. Apparently her father worked for a black op military program that was messing with genetics. One part of her mission was to make these sculptures of all the different extraterrestrial races and hand them and get them to the ambassador of that particular race. She handed me that sculpture at a UFO conference, and she gave it to me for free. I didn't know who she was. I actually have a picture of her walking up to me with the sculpture to hand it to me. She asked me if I was a lion being, and I said, I think so. She says, here, hold this for a minute, and I'll be right back. She came back about 5-10 minutes later, and she said, yep, that's for you. Since then, I've had it set up on my bookcase, and last year it became activated. And Mother Goddess SEKHMET, one of the original creators of life on Earth from ancient Egypt, walked through my front door with her entourage, walked around the sofa, and she approached me with her hands out and said, "Daughter, we've got work to do." And she took me out for additional training and educating on furthering information of what my mission is. And if you listen to any of Cynthia Crawford's interviews, she specifically states that her sculptures are for the purpose of and infused with the frequency of your star family for the purpose of guidance on your mission and connection. It's almost like a GPS tracking signal to my star family. I have been visited by Mother Goddess Sekhmet a few times just in the past week. She has given me valuable information to present to humanity, a 7-bullet point outline for which I am searching an appropriate platform to present the information on. One more thing that I would like to discuss is approximately almost a year ago, Master Jesus, he has visited me many times along with others from the higher realm of the true light. I get so many comments from people that are saying I'm dealing with demons, the false light, the this, the that. They have no idea who I deal with. I take out the demons in the lower astral realm. I have been highly trained in collecting, neutralizing, and arresting these demons, dark energies, and creatures. I know how to read a higher level being of true light, their frequency resonance. I know who comes in. They don't tell me their name. I know who they are. And I have been visited by Native American chiefs, Archangel Michael, Commander Ashtar, Master Jesus, Mother Mary. Mother Mary came to see me in Nevada in 2019. I had moved there because I healed and I was able to find a job at a maximum security prison up in the mountains in Nevada. Upon arrival, to look for a place to live, I stayed in a small motel. And I thought to myself, you know what? I am in a state of perfection. My health is great. I feel great. I have been healed. The last pill that I've been taking is a thyroid pill because I was stupid 30 years ago and let them irradiate and kill my thyroid gland in my neck. So I've had to take a replacement pill every day. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to take anything from this nasty corporation. I'm sick of it. So I quit taking it. Well, about a month later, I wound up in congestive heart failure, and I wound up bloated, and my eyes were like slits because my face was so swollen. So I hurry up and contacted my friend at the healing center. I said, hey, can you put a note in the prayer box? Could you just ask if I still have to take this stuff? That night, in my motel room, I was bombarded with beings of light, and they woke me up. And I said, hey, can I see what you guys look like? They're balls of light. That's what we are in the higher realms. We're balls of light, balls of energy, bright light. They had no form. They were so high up there, they had no form. They were just sparkles of bright light. I said, well, that was exciting. So I can't be dealing with demons at that high level. Even God has a security system to keep low vibrational beings from the higher dimensions. It's called frequency. If you can't resonate with that frequency, you are not allowed to enter. It's just like a radio station. You're tuning the frequency. You start low and then you can work up, and then you work up higher. If you don't resonate with the higher level beings of the true light, you won't get their messages. Aim high. So I know who I'm dealing with. I am of the true light, and I deal with those in the true light, the pure light, not the false light. I know what the false light is. I know what demons are. I know how to find out if they're a demon or a good or a one that's benevolent. I've been highly trained in this for many, 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 many years, on planet and off planet. So what the heck was I going to say? Oh, back to the motel room. So all these beings of light came in, rushed in, woke me up, and Mother Mary was leading the pack. Mother Mary said to me, I'm going to give you a gift, and you're going to have chest pain for a few days, but you're going to be just fine. So she balled up a piece of energy and threw it into my chest. And then I went back to sleep. The next morning, I got up, went to the bathroom, and they had pulled out my thyroid medication that was in a box under the sink, and they put it on top of my shower cap to remind me, yes, you still need this, sweetie. Why? I don't know why. And I'm like, okay, I have faith. I'll keep taking it, even though I don't want to. I have hundreds of experiences like that. Hundreds. Okay, one more thing I want to get to before we go. Oh, yeah. Back to Master Jesus. He came to me about a year ago, and he trained me on how to serve notice here in the physical realm and in the spiritual realm. I have been given the authority to give notice by Master Jesus and others, a cease and desist notice of intent. So I have the support and backing and training from those in the higher realm to give notice. The first time I gave notice was in the physical realm. Master Jesus had me get a piece of paper and a highlighter, and he told me what to write, and he gave me the authority to sign his name. I rolled it up in the fashion of which he trained me, tied it with a little red ribbon, and I administered it to our local hospital system, to the administrator. With that intent and with that notice, I just put the entire petrochemical, pharmaceutical, medical corporation on notice. And tonight, I was told to provide a second notice in the physical, and I would like to read it to you. Under the authority given to me, I, Cassandra, warrior of the true light, Galactic Supreme Court Justice, under the approval of Mother Goddess Sekhmet and guidance from Master Jesus, I hereby put João Tierra de Faria, also known as John of God, on notice on this date, October 24th, 2024. You have been served. You are hereby ordered to immediately cease and desist any and all spiritual services, interactions with anyone seeking spiritual guidance or healing. Your mission has hereby been revoked. You are also hereby ordered from upon high that you will not perform any style or level of retaliation to anyone, physically or spiritually. Signed on this day in the physical realm, October 24th, 2024. And I also request that this notice be officially recorded in the Akashic Records. From this day forward, I will be focusing and working on exposing as much truth and light as I can. God has put me in grand places to be able to do that. Again, please refer to my introduction video that explains where I have worked, the certificates and training that I have received. I've worked as a federal medical investigator that did high-level investigations for the feds and the state. My office was at the Capitol building. I'm a highly trained medical investigator, and none of my investigations have ever been overturned in a court of law. I was trained by the feds, by a state detective, for 6 months. I also worked for the Department of Justice, at the Bureau of Prisons, at the Federal Supermax, commonly called the ADX, in Colorado for 4 years. What I have seen and experienced firsthand is shocking. We live in times of great chaos, and it may get worse. I will await further direction from my star family. I don't like to call them extraterrestrials or aliens, because they are not alien to me, and they are my family. Mother Goddess SEKHMET is leading the way of contact and disclosure, the creator gods. Humanity has a mix of extraterrestrial, star family, genetics from which you came from. We came from the stars. So I get lots of comments saying, oh, all extraterrestrials are demons. So let's see. Jesus is an extraterrestrial, not of this earth. Extra meaning outside of this earth, interdimensional being. So is Jesus a demon? All the other saints and sages, are they demons? They're extraterrestrial, not of this terrain, interdimensional beings of light. The demons are already here in the lower fourth astral level. That's not who I'm dealing with. That is who I'm taking out and incarcerating in my galactic version of the federal ADX. I was taken there a few weeks ago, and I walked down range and observed some of the demons and creatures that are already being incarcerated because of me. A very close family member has been tortured in her bathroom in the middle of the night because they can't get to me. So they got to a very close family member and they tortured her for hours. Physically tortured her and told her, "We are here because of your mother. We know who she is. She has a prison." And I never told this close family member about my prison or what I do. She called me the next day and said that she had been tortured for almost 6 hours. This is spiritual warfare. The controllers of this planet want to completely separate you from Source. And it's getting real close. They have genetically modified all of our food. Those things you get in the upper arm, I can't say it because Facebook will take it down. All of those pokes, those bites you got in your arm, alter your DNA. They've calcified your pineal gland. That's your spirit gland to connect you with source light energy. They've put in traps in the lower fourth dimension so that when your physical body dies, they can snatch your soul back up and throw you back in for more food. Because all you are to them is energy louche. It is up to all of us to put an end to this and stop feeding the beast. Start saying, no, thank you. No. No, thank you. And stand up for yourself. Starting with my first video, I have exposed who and what I am. I am Cassandra, warrior of the true light, daughter of Mother Goddess Sekhmet, who is one of the ancient creator gods from Egypt. The creator gods are back. Why would you fear them? They created you. They want nothing from you. They have everything they need. They're not going to charge. They don't want to put fear in any of their children. They don't want to harm their children. But you see, the mainstream media is setting up the idea that all ETs are here to kill you and take over and invade. The creator gods are not here to invade. They are ringing your doorbell on your front porch, and it is up to you on whether or not you would like to answer the door. They're not going to land on the White House lawn and cause chaos and confusion. That's not a godly thing to do and invade free will. It's up to each individual to step into their power and connect with their own star family and say, yes, we could use a little help here, because they have healing technology to clean this planet up. Flush the toilet from all the dark filth and poison that has been dumped on Mother Earth for decades. Right now, I'm going to go through a couple comments and see if there's any questions that I can answer quickly, because I don't know how long I've been on here. I can give you a couple quick healing examples if you guys are interested. The first one, real quick, is back in 2019. I had a nursing assistant working for me. She was a young gal. She had a little baby at home, and she had a lot of pain in her female area. She didn't know if it was her ovaries, uterus, and I remember her always complaining she's in real bad pain. So in this small rural town, they had a hospital. It didn't have very good reviews. A lot of people seemed to kind of pass if they went to access health care at this small hospital that had maybe 3 or 4 beds. Well, anyway, she went to this hospital, and so an OB/GYN said, well, let's do a scope on you and see what's going on. So she took the scope, and she jammed it into her abdomen like this, and she punctured everything. So the little girl, she wound up with peritonitis, which is life-threatening infection. It's where her stool emptied into her peritoneum, and she wound up with a huge fever and was dying. So she texted me, contacted me, says, Cassandra, please help me. I know what you do. I sent her information to my friend at the healing center that as they flew her to Utah, that night in Utah, the entities of light showed up in her room in a physical ghostly form with their lab coats, and they brought her grandfather who had passed. Her grandfather told her, don't worry, you're not going to die. Help is here. Don't worry, you're going to be able to go home to your baby. So the entities of light in their ghostly form with their lab coats, for which they were once doctors or healers, they asked her, is it okay if we take over your plan of care? And she said yes. And they immediately worked on her, and she healed immediately, and she was able to go home, and she was able to even have another baby after that. See, the entities of light I work with will always ask you for your consent. They need your free will. They need your consent. I've had some people say, no. I'm like, okay. I don't get it, but I honor that. Courageous. Okay, figure it out on your own. Or how's that working out for you? Because help is available. Another example is a close family member was in a very large medical center in Cleveland, Ohio. She wound up on a ventilator at the age of 32. They were drooling for her organs, and I said, get out of here, we don't donate. No. No, thank you. No. They were killing her with the vent. Most of the people that get put on a ventilator die. They die from infection, respiratory collapse, respiratory shutdown. So by then, my family member, who's 32, had double MRSA infection in her lungs. Her oxygen sats were fading, fever. They had all kinds of IVs pumping into her, poisoning her even more, killing her kidneys. I went downstairs in the middle of the night at this large, beautiful, billion-dollar medical center. And I sobbed. I sobbed in the lobby. I said, Jesus, where am I going to find a high vibrational being that will pray for me, with me, in your name? Because you promised 2 or more people praying in your name. Miracles happen. Where am I going to find somebody in this place of Satan where witches are nurses? Doctors are witches. You know what Jesus said to me? He said, go back up to that room. As I had snot and sobbing all over, I walked into the room, and they had assigned her quickly a patient sitter because I left the room. This patient sitter came up to me. She was an African woman about my age. As I entered the door, she walked up to me with her hands out and said, you must be the family member. I said, yes, I am. She says, hold my hands and let's pray to Jesus. I sobbed. I sobbed and snotted all over the place in gratitude because I knew that's what we needed. Faith. Have faith, people. God just asks for a seed, a mustard seed of faith. And God will perform miracles for you. Faith is your connection to source. It's intention. It's faith. It's focus. That next day I had to go back home because I'm watching my grandbaby because my daughter was active duty military. I drove all the way back down to North Carolina and I left this family member in God's hands and said, God, I have to go. Please be here. That next morning, I got a phone call from my family member's doctor. Said, ma'am, I have bad news. I said, what? She ripped out her ventilator, suctioned her lungs, and is sitting up on the bed now. And I went, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I was told they wouldn't take the vent out because it was a weekend. They didn't have the proper respiratory therapist there to discontinue the ventilator. So they were going to keep her on it and kill her and then want to take her organs. But anyway, back to thank you, Jesus. I hopped in the car and drove right back up to Cleveland, Ohio. Walked in my family member's room. As she looked at me and she said, you're not going to believe what happened. I said, oh, yes, I am. She told me the story of how God sent a messenger, a nurse, to her in the spiritual realm. The nurse offered her healing. And this family member told me that she was afraid, but she said, well, I think I'm dying, so what do I have to lose? So I told this spirit, yeah, I'll go. Do you know that God sent a team to pick up every ventilator patient on that unit, which were 6 or 8, and put them on a transport bus in the spiritual realm and took them to a Native American crystal healing center in the higher spiritual realms for healing? My family member told me when everybody was sitting on this bus transport, they were all like looking at each other like, what is going on? Now, mind you, when you're in the spiritual realm out of the body, you have an imprint of your physical body in the spiritual realm. So everybody on that bus still had a ventilator in their mouth, down their throat. I could do a whole podcast on that, but just go with it. She says everybody was on that bus with their ventilators scared to death. Like, where are we going? So they went to this Native American crystal ventilator center in the higher realms. Everybody was put on a bed, and they were given a crystal ventilator to put down their throat next to the physical one. And my family member said, do you know how uncomfortable that was? She says, I was going to kind of touch it and move it. And then the lady said, don't touch that. You don't understand what we're doing. So they gave her treatment. Then they transported all the patients back to the physical hospital in Cleveland, Ohio, and put them back in their body. But when they put my family member back in her body, they yanked out her ventilator and suctioned her physical lungs. And when the doctors walked in, there was that bottle on the wall, that container that holds the suctioned mucus and material, was filled with black, smelly, nasty stuff. And the doctors come running because the bells and the whistles of the ventilator were going off. And they walk into the room, and there's my family members suctioned and the ventilators pulled out. And they're like, what is going on here? Has anybody ever seen somebody on a ventilator? That thing is strapped on, velcroed around, tied down. Your hands are velcroed and tied down so that you can't pull it out. And you're drugged, right? Can you imagine the awe and amazement of the doctors and nurses running into her room, seeing that she had suctioned herself to get all that black goo out of there and the ventilator out? I have hundreds of these stories, not just 2. Spirit and God is here to help. All you have to do is ask, and you shall receive with an open heart and an open mind, and have that little seed of faith. And then you release it. You know the saying, let go and let God. So those are two. Hopefully I wasn't screaming too much. So those are two examples out of many that I could share. Hay House Publishing had contacted me. That's Dr. Wayne Dyer's. That's who he used to write books. But I don't have time to write books. I'm here to do. I need to do things. Humanity has no idea at what I have been doing behind the scenes, because over the years I have put my head on the floor physically and said, Father, how may I be of service? And the answers I would get would be, daughter, you better think about this. Come back next year. Next year I came back, put my head on the floor and said, Father, how may I be of service to God and humanity? Daughter, you really need to think about this. That's been 10 years. God has tested me. Are you sure? Because we've got big stuff for you to do. Do you realize you're putting yourself at risk for losing jobs, losing relationships? I lost my little grandbaby because the father said I'm dealing with demons and extraterrestrials. I have lost a lot on my mission, but that will not stop me because I have faith. I know I will see my grandbaby again. I will repeat again. I am Cassandra, warrior of the true light, daughter of Mother Goddess Sekhmet, here to serve God and humanity. I am not here to be nice. God doesn't need marshmallows all the time. Everything isn't all nice and lovey-dovey and fluffy and love and light. That's not what I do. I approached a nasty frickin' demon about 18 feet tall that's kind of a spider-looking thing that was messing with humanity. Creepy. And I walked up to it in the spiritual realm, handed it a notice as those from even the higher realms came down, almost like custody guards, came down and arrested it and took it off. It tried to negotiate with me. These demons and these creatures know who and what I am. They don't even bother to try to attack me because they know I am way beyond them. Don't even bother. I do have a very high level of protection, but the dark is working on attacking those close to me. So I'm going to ask you all for your prayers and thoughts and intents of protection for me and my loved ones. Even my little dog is having massive seizures. They can't get me. They tried in 2012, and they failed because I dug deep at that time and said, God, what is this all about? And when they came initially to my small studio apartment in Michigan, when my life was supposed to end, I asked them, I demanded, what is this all about? And they said one word, love. I had no idea what they were talking about, but I went with it. I'm like, okay, how do we move forward? So on this day and date, I am sharing with you, the public, humanity, the light of who I am, what I do, about John of God, the Healing Center. There is way more good than bad there. And I am disgusted with him and his behavior. Disgusted. One more thing I would like to say in closing is that you'll be finding that women will now be stepping up to the plate and regaining control of this planet. You see what men have done over the years. As an investigator, it doesn't take a lot of rocket science to realize It's a disaster. Male figures have been raping and murdering pedophiles for a very long time. It's time for Mother Goddess Sekhmet to step in. They've got lots of technology that they can offer. We were supposed to be in the Jetsons age by now. But the dark messed with the timelines. Chico Xavier, famous psychic author, he wrote over 490 books in Brazil. Chico Xavier, one of the most world-famous psychics, dedicated his whole life to his mission, and he did it well. He was a friend of Medium João years ago, and he is the one that apparently gave him his name, John of God. I have contacted Chico Xavier during some of my last visits to the Healing Center, and I said, you said that ET contact would be happening by now. And the message I got was, well, the dark messed with the timeline again. They are holding things up because they know their time is near. They can't live without our energy. And when you quit feeding the beast, they die. The more chaos you see, the more cornered they are, the more frantic they are. So chaos is a good thing. We need to bring things down so that we can build things back up. The last thing I will say on this video is thank you, Chico Xavier, for your mission, your dedication to humanity, and bringing truth from spirit to the physical. He wrote over 490 books and gave all the profits away to charities. He was a humble man. He never married, had no children. He was dedicated to his mission. He didn't abuse his power. He didn't rape women. I encourage many of you to look him up. Chico Xavier from Brazil. I have numerous books of his in my house, and I have read many, which have also helped me in my spiritual training progress. So Chico Xavier coined the term John of God. Well, I, Cassandra, warrior of the light, revoke that name. Because what he did was not godly. Monster. He was weak. He gave in to temptation. Selfish, greedy, abuse of power. That's not godly. And I call it the way I see it. All right. I think that's it for tonight. I'm not even sure how many are watching, but I'm hoping people download this because Facebook and others may delete it. I would like you to share it. And hopefully within the next week, I will get further direction and guidance on the next steps of bringing in the light, the truth, and disclosure of our star family. I have contacted my member of Congress. There is a UFO subcommittee that has been formed, and I would like to be part of that. If any of you would like to help volunteer for me and contact your congresswoman or man and give them a heads up of who I am and that I've got information about extraterrestrials, because that's what they call them. I call them my star family because that's what they are. I would appreciate any help. I can only do so much in one day. I have already dedicated my entire life to this, and I am putting my entire life on the line. And I will not go home from this existence, from this physical reality, someone that failed in their mission. It's not in my vocabulary. I want to go home knowing that I stood strong, stood in my faith. I have my armor of God on every day. I'm not here to make friends. In fact, I have few friends. I don't need friends. I'm here to shake and stir the shit pot. I'm here to bring in the light and the truth. I'm here to hand out notices and arrest creatures. I'm here to bring in justice and offer healing modalities that are free. I would also like you to, if you're not familiar with who Mother Goddess SEKHMET is, please do your own research. There isn't a whole lot out there by design because they do not want you to know. They want to keep you in a state of complete ignorance. They don't want you to know your true history, where you came from, the powers that you have within. They laugh at you, call you names, attack you. Look at what they did to Jesus. He healed people. He didn't have a billing department. He was pure love. He brought love. Love and healing. Look what they did to him. Is humanity ready again? Or will humanity again ridicule, laugh at, torture, and kill more beings that incarnate, that came to help ascension? I'm not even sure if humanity's ready. Everything I've seen, I don't know. Sometimes I go back and report and say, I don't know. I don't know. Do we have enough? Because where this is going is a complete separation from God. That is the agenda. To cut off people, humanity, cut you off totally from source energy. And they're getting real close. They want to control reproduction and creation of every life form on the planet to use as they wish. Complete and total slavery and turning human beings into Borgs. Completely disconnected from source. I personally don't want that. So I will do what I can to help humanity. And I refuse to live in fear. Fear is a lack of faith. Again, in my final years of my life on this planet, my biggest nightmare is going home a failure, and I refuse to do that. I'll have some ridiculing comments, laughing at me, judging me, and you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I understand that. My message is not for everybody, and I understand that. So, in closing, I would like to thank Saint Rita, my star family, Mother Goddess Sekhmet, my husband, who has been very patient, whom I love dearly with my entire heart, who has been such a blessing in my life, for which I have been on a very lonely journey. I've been doing this all by myself for the past 20-some years. I would tell God, where is my love? But now looking back, I couldn't have done or gone through what I needed to go through if I was married. But now I have my blessing, and He is the love of my life. He is very patient, intelligent, loving, spiritual. He is a master in itself. He has also done fantastic things for humanity that no one will ever know about. We've got a lot of unsung heroes walking the planet that you will never hear about, but they will be highly, highly decorated when they go home for their mission. So thank you very much. After I post this, I will try to scan through the comments and see if there are any questions. I will also post this, download it, and post it on Rumble and BitChute under Purple Lion Project. Thank you very much. And I thank God for this grand opportunity to serve Source, my star family, and humanity. Now, if I can figure out how to end the live video. I'm not very tech savvy, I'm telling you. I thought I did this last night, and then I ended the live video and there was nothing. Talk about a bit upset.